to At Home with Cici. I am Cici. Today's video is going to be about maths, which is exciting. I'm not very mathematically inclined, but recently I've noticed that my little one, who I homeschool, is really thriving in maths at the moment, and I think it's down to the preparation from when she was little, but also the combination of math styles of teaching that I'm using in our homeschool. So this video is going to show you a little bit about how we do that, and then the next video I'm hoping will be a lesson with us. Okay, so since she was tiny and able to engage in things other than like my boobs, I've been introducing her to all concepts of learning, all ways of learning, all tools for learning, including maths, like basic maths concepts in the toys, games and activities that I did with her. And a lot of that came from the Montessori method. So I had either DIY'd or bought materials, traditional Montessori materials, and ideas and activities. So she's had quite a, solid, I'd say, foundation for her age in maths, and now we are beginning to do more formal, specific, intentional maths learning. So I'm going to take you through some of the things we're using at the moment, and then also some of the things we are intending to incorporate into our learning days as well. Okay, so I'm going to start with what's on our shelf at the moment. Okay. So these are the coloured bead stairs, basically, Montessori beads. The golden bead isn't always included in the stair, but each bead has its own colour. Each number has its own colour. So Maya has finally learned now that the red is 1, 8 is brown, and it's in order like this in presentation. So we were just using these to do addition and subtraction, and now we've moved on to using them for making 10. And I'll show you that now. Okay, so this is another bought Montessori material. These are the operation symbols, like less and more than, plus, minus, and equals, times and divide. And then these are the number cards. They're made of wood, and you can trace them with your finger or trace them with a stylus. So you practice the writing of them. But we mainly use these for adding and subtraction and making the number sentence or the equation, however you like to say it. So, well, it wouldn't work with naught, would it? Because I don't have another one. So we'd do 2 plus 1 equals, and then however many. But that would be so this sentence would come after Maya using the actual materials, using her hands and using materials to make the sentence. So for example, I've got them clipped into different groups from simplest to more complicated. So this is the one we just put back. So we would have all different ones here. She would choose one, and then she would grab the beads. Let me do that. So she would see that there's a 2 and a 3, and then together she would count them all up, and it would equal 5. And then pretend this is the right sum. should find the number 2, the number 3, and then 5 at the end. Obviously that's not 5.
2 plus 3 equals 5.
So she liked that one, but we have also done this. So she's only been recently able to do it fully with the coloured beads. Before we would do it with loose beads and gems and stones and different materials. So that's one of many different activities we do using the coloured beads. But let me show you something that we've been using recently now. Okay, so Montessori does not use workbooks. That is not a thing in the Montessori approach. But if you are not trained as a Montessori guide, it can be quite hard to know in what order to introduce the materials and the lessons. And it can be very expensive to have all the materials as well, and we definitely don't have anywhere near all the materials, and I don't want to make loads of different ones. So I found this fantastic book by an American and Christian mum, basically, and she has created some really wonderful workbooks. I think they're really great, and it's just called the Montessori Math Workbook. It's not a traditional workbook like you would think of immediately, so let me show you. This is primary book 2. I bought all 3 at once because that's what I do. So this is what it looks like originally as a book, and as you can see, it's not a book where a child sits and writes like sums and things over and over again. It's a workbook that basically has the order of the lessons in a traditional Montessori classroom, and it has all the materials you would need. Usually they're wooden materials or natural materials, but these use paper, so you cut and stick. Okay, so that's the next one. We're not on that at all, but that's what it looks like. This is what I did with it. So it was a red one, I think, and then I just tore out all the pages. They're easily torn, you can tear them bit by bit, and put them into a folder. So here are some of the cut things that we already had, that I've already cut from different activities that we've already done, and I've kept them just in case we need them again. So it starts with number recognition, and you can make your own sandpaper numbers, like we have the sandpaper letters here. This is a traditional Montessori material. So when we started this just a few weeks ago, Maya went sort of backwards in what she knows. So we went right back to the beginning, recognizing numbers. She recognizes all her numbers up to 10 when we started this, but we just went right back to the beginning to make sure there are no gaps in her learning as we progress. So these are the number rods, and we're just identifying them, cutting and sticking. Lots of cutting and sticking in this, lots of picking up things and moving them to compare. So this is a comparison. This is quite a sensorial, again, activity. When you lay them out like this, Maya would put them in order herself, recognizing which one is 1, which one is 7, and so on. So we would do a few of the pages, depending on how much was in one lesson, sometimes 2 lessons. So this is making 10, basically. It's like number bonds. So there's quite a lot in one theme, basically. So number rods, there was a lot of work on number rods. It's not all in here. Some of it we made and then put in the bin because we didn't need to keep it all. But some of it's really nice and tidy, so we did. This is recognizing numbers and just one-to-one correspondence. So in a Montessori classroom, these are made of wood and they're really large. So you can pick them up and the child can feel the weight of them. So you can feel that one weighs much less than 10. So they're using their body, their senses outside of just looking to feel numbers, if that makes sense. We don't have them, but there are other ways that we do that. We can use sticks and things that have different sizes naturally as well. This was just for us to go over what she already knew. So we're just counting, marking the cards with the beads. You would usually have counters, but we just did pen dotting because it's in a workbook. So this is what the material would actually look like, these counters. Again, we're just matching the numbers to the amount, and different ways of matching and seeing, recognizing and identifying. Then we did this really great odds and evens activity, and she mastered it immediately. She grasped the concept like on the spot perfectly. So then there was some workbook type activity, but she enjoyed it because she was happy that she understood and she could show that she understood. And then some more of her own work.
1, 2, 3.
Tell me.
Odd.
Then we did now we've gone on to the short bead stairs, which we have the physical version of. So we were integrating the physical beads with cutting and sticking beads. So you can see we've cut some just for fun, but also we're just using the real ones. So I just wanted her to put it in so she could see that she made that stair. So she's ordered them. Then she's coloured them so she remembers which colour is which number. And I think it's so lovely, this book. It's so well done for someone who is not a trained guide in Montessori to like really know what you're doing next and not get lost, because for a while I was like steaming ahead onto like tens, thousands, like place value in the thousands, and she understood, like she can tell you what 1,000 is and she can show you the 1,000 beads.
1,369.
But she needed to have a firmer grasp in the basics before we moved on to there. So this is making of the card. So this was cut, she had to match that to that, write it, find the bead, and then make the numbers. So it was one stamp. Lots of glue, so they're stuck together. And so on, as you can see, all the way to 10. Again, we didn't need to cut these out for the activity because we just used the real ones. We didn't need to do this activity by sticking it in. It's like, this is like, in Montessori, they do 3-part lessons. So the first lesson is the teaching and the showing. The second lesson is for them to show you what they know. And the third lesson is to test them, basically. So this was to test Maya, to show that she could recognize all of them out of order and give me one, and then we'd stick it there. But she just did it with me physically. So she gave me the real beads, and then we were done. We didn't need to stick it in. More matching in different orders. And now we've moved on to the snake game, which is making 10. So you would count up to 10, you'd stop, you'd take those away, and then stick a golden bead in. So I'll show you what she's actually done. We don't need to use this because we have the actual box. So she counted, put 10, counted, put 10, counted, put 10.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ten, 20, 30.
She didn't want to do all of them, that's fine. Then she did it again using the black and white bead bars. So where they weren't perfectly adding up to 10, so these ones before were number bonds to 10. So that was 5 and 5, 3 and 7, 9 and 1. So that made it easy. But when there were, for example, is this the right one? Yeah, when it was 7 and 5, that doesn't make 10. So it would be 7, 8, 9, 10. You'd stop, you'd put a number 2 black bead here. Take both of these away. Again, we use the physical version of the beads. Take these 2 beads away, put the 2 black bead there, and then you swap it for a golden bead, and then can continue counting up to the next 10. So we made 36, and then we made 34. And she was very proud to work it out and write it herself. This is where we're up to now. Even though it's paperwork, sit-down work, and writing, it's still physical, and it's still my really immediately seeing the effects of what her hands are doing, what her brain is doing, and then we're just writing it down and recording it, and then practicing writing numbers and so on, and practicing cutting and sticking, which is always good for fine motor. So that is the Montessori math workbook that we have been going through recently, so very recent. And now I'm going to show you what we're going to be incorporating alongside the Montessori math workbooks now. So this is a proper workbook. We have not started this but it does align nicely with the work we're going on to in with the Montessori math workbook. We're doing addition, subtraction, the connection between the two, graphs, and then place value. So she knows a bit of place value. She knows these two things. We haven't really connected them yet, which is a good thing for us to do. And then graphs, which is quite interesting. So as you can see, it is very much a workbook, very non-Montessori aligned, but I think Maya will enjoy this because it's quite straightforward, it's simple, and you just get the answers straight away there. I will let you know how we go with this. This is the first proper workbook she'll be doing, and it goes along nicely with the Montessori maths. So there'll still be lots of manipulatives that we're using, lots of physical work, and then this is more of a consolidation for all of that. I have the 1A and the 1B work text. Let me show you. So there's 1B as well, where addition and subtraction to 10, which is what we've been looking at in a roundabout way with our number bond work. The clock and calendar, which is what we do in the mornings. Shapes and measuring. She's so interested in measuring. And then higher addition and subtraction, and then coins. So this is an American workbook, but I have the PDF version of the non-American / British currency. And she's we've already done coin work and currency work when we're playing shops and so on. So she knows her coins, but this will be again just consolidation. Then with this set comes the answer key. So if because it's possible that this will be above my level. So if I'm not sure of the answer, then we have the answer keys. I think that they do this all the way up to, later in primary school, and maybe even up above that. So maths can get harder for the teacher as well, the parent. So it's good to have that just to be sure. And then here is the test and cognitive revision. So this sounds scary, especially for a 3-year-old, but it really is just like a little test, the same thing. Look how short that is. Really, really short. That's also, I'm not even doing it properly. So that's one test. So it's just like a sheet, like a worksheet page. And it's just for them to see how they're doing, for you to see where they are and what needs going over again. And, you can make it really fun. We'll probably go outside to do it, or we'd do it at a restaurant or a cafe or something, so that it's, a little special moment for her first little test. Nothing serious. It's not like to get standards. It's nothing like a school. It's just for us to see where she is and how she's doing. So that's the real super, quite intimidating looking workbook, but it's all going to be fun. We've still got our principles, our values for learning, and there's nothing scary or regimented here. It just looks that way. Finally, with our maths is some Waldorf, which is much more beautiful than these. And I have our first lesson ready. So let me turn the camera so you're not just staring at this. So the quality of numbers is a Waldorf Inspired concept, where you look at numbers more holistically. They're not just, this is a number and you add it to this and it makes this. There are so many different connotations with numbers, stories about numbers, poetry about numbers, songs about numbers, and so many ways to understand the number. So for example, the 1, we can look at 1 as in there's one you, there's one sun, there's one moon, and really contextualizing numbers. So they're not just scary maths things, they're part of life and art and yourself. So I'll take you through the little basket I have prepared for our first quality of numbers lesson, which is the number 1. So I have a story about the number 1, and this is Maya's quality of numbers book up to the number 6. That's what fits in here. You'll see that another time, I guess. My plan. The camera looks weird. And then different games that we'll play to do with the number 1. Dominoes, a wood board instead of a whiteboard. It just looks nicer. This is my oldest when they were doing their GCSEs revision. This is what they used. I just think it's nicer than a whiteboard. Yes, so shapes and the Waldorf numbering. Would you be making the shape with pipe cleaners, making the Roman numeral with sticks? And then I guess I can show you a little bit of the workbook. So, not a workbook, a notebook. Sorry, not workbook. So each number has a different colour. So in Waldorf, they do very rainbow themed, which is beautiful. It looks so lovely. But this workbook, this notebook is colour coordinated to the Montessori bead stair colours. So 1 is red, 2 is green, yellow for 4, pink for 3. And I have prepared her notebook, her journal, her maths journal, I guess, and decorated the pages for her in preparation. Eventually, she will do her own decoration, not in the maths notebook, but in her Maya's Book of the World, and I can show you that another time when we're looking at geography. But I have prepared it just so she doesn't have to worry about doing all of that as well as the actual content of the work. So for example, the first lesson will have lots of stories and games, and we'll use the chalkboard as well, lots of chalk and art drawings and games outside. But then in her journal, she'll be writing the number 1, the shape that has one side, the fraction. And then we'll practice writing the word 1, practice forming the digit, writing it in Spanish, drawing a number line after we've done an activity with our bodies using the number line on the floor or outside on the pavement with chalk and so on, drawing the domino, because there will be a game we play with dominoes, making a 1-to-1 pattern, and that's where the Skittles come in. Where's my little... Oh, here it is. So I just made this on a piece of felt. And then she can choose the 2 colours for her 1-to-1 Skittle work. So she'll do green, purple, green, purple. So obviously sweeties are a great incentive to play with. They smell nice, the colours are great. And then she can copy those colours in her book herself, if that makes sense. So that's one of the activities. We'll talk about the story of the Roman numerals, the story of 1, the story of Maya, because there's only one Maya, for example. So lots of fun to be had with that, and I'll show it to you all in a lesson. So that is our quality of numbers work. Oh, I just have to show you this as well. Oh, this is a long video. This is the Waldorf numbering, and it's a recent find. I hadn't seen it before recently, and I just find it so gorgeous. So I showed it to my middle child, and he loved it. So if you're counting in ones, you would count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Obviously, you'd be able to hold it because you wouldn't be holding a phone. And then you'd carry on. Once you get to the 0 again, that becomes 10, and then this is 11, 12, 13, 14, all the way around to 20, and then 21. But then it also helps with skip counting or times tables, for example. So if we were going to count in 2s, it would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, and so on. And then if we're counting in 4s, let's say, it makes another shape, a really pretty shape. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, it makes a star, and so on. So each times table, I guess, creates a whole new shape. So we draw that shape in on her number book as well to show the shape made on the numbering. It's also great for coordination as well as counting, and it just makes a beautiful pattern. So this is a Waldorf, specifically Waldorf material, which is really, really gorgeous. But yes, I think I'm done talking. Okay, so this video is going to take a while for me to edit because I did so much chatting. Oh, also, while I'm standing here, one of the other activities is the salt tray, where she'll practice drawing the shape of the letter. And no, she can, the number, and the word. She can form all of her letters up, 0 to 9. But it's just fun to have a nice bit of practice, and it takes away from just sitting and writing, and it breaks everything up and makes everything more holistic and using the whole body. So yeah, that's the combination of learning styles we have with maths. Aside from using our bodies and song and stories, which I can't do by myself because that would be a bit creepy. But the next video I will take you with us in our quality of numbers lesson, so you can see how that goes. So as I said, yes, the combination of Montessori materials and methods, workbook, work, and beautiful art-based, like art and literature-based learning, all combined to have a more holistic approach to learning maths and numbers and all those concepts. So I hope this video has not annoyed you or been too boring. I hope you're still here. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below, and I will see you in the next video.